And tweets.
And tweets. The president has a First Amendment right to engage in political advocacy. He's just like everyone else. If he believed that the election was wrong, he had a right to do so in public and in the courts. And if his supporters wanted to raise money for his legal fees, they have a right to do so.
Who cares?
I feel like we're all done.
All right, so Rob Finnerty, 6:30 tomorrow morning. I'll be in for the 8 p.m. Grant Stinchfeld show, so make sure you log into both of those. We'll see you next week, folks.
King, and this is New to the Street, in person back here at the NASDAQ market site in New York City. This show is all about public, private blockchain companies, the CEOs, the founders, and the innovators, bringing you lots of opportunities to consider. Here we go. Fantom is a consensus as a service platform for the next generation of distributed ledgers. So with me to explain exactly what that means, CEO Michael Kong, to tell us more about Fantom and what all you're doing there. And so give us a simple explanation of what Fantom is doing.
Well, Fantom is a layer 1 platform. So what that means is that we run like our own consensus engine, and it's basically a platform that allows you to perform smart contract execution. So the way that you deploy and you operate different kinds of applications, such as in decentralized finance or NFT related, gaming related or metaverse related, these are all sorts of use cases that you can have on the Fantom platform. And what really differentiates us from other platforms is that it always stays online, it never goes offline, it processes transactions very, very fast because we have a unique technology where you can process multiple transactions around the same time and still build that blockchain ledger in the end. So that's really what the platform is.
That's what you do. So you basically build kind of the base, so to speak, and then if somebody wants to build on top of that some type of application, that's what you do, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we work at the foundation primarily on the underlying technology. So we work on building the technology that allows you to confirm transactions, process transactions in the most scalable and secure manner. So we don't build applications on top of the network, but we build the underlying technology that allows people to build applications on top of them.
Got it. And you mentioned it was fast. So how are you able to do that? And it's cheaply too, right? I understand. Okay, so how are you able to do that?
So it's quite a complicated process. That's what we spent probably a year and a half to 2 years working on. But essentially, we've found ways of a variety of different algorithms that allow you to basically process multiple transactions at the same time. So, for example, in contrast to say Bitcoin or Ethereum, you process one transaction or one block at a time. So you wait for the block to be created, you add transactions into it, and then you put it to the chain. And so it's very sequential.
I see.
And because it's sequential, you're doing it one at a time.
So it slows everything down.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas just intuitively, if you can process say 3 blocks at the same time, or 4 blocks, or 3 transactions, or 4 transactions rather than 1, then on average your network throughput or your performance will be a lot higher, just because you can process things simultaneously rather than just 1 at a time.
Yeah, interesting. So tell me about technologies you're working on now.
So we're working on a variety of improvements to the network. So the actual bottleneck for us is not really the consensus. The consensus works really fast. And talking to our developers, we can probably increase the network throughput by a factor of maybe 4 or 5 compared to where it is right now. The issues are more related to other aspects of how you process a transaction. So for example, the amount of data going in and out of nodes in the network, and also in particular the way that smart contracts are executed on the platform itself. Because in order for you to execute a smart contract, you have to run a software layer And that software layer that many other platforms use, especially Ethereum, is like very inefficient. So we're working on replacing that technology with like our own technology stack. We're working on solving a number of like identified problems so we can really take full advantage of the consensus. And once that happens, the network throughput goes up a lot more while still maintaining like fast confirmation times as well as low fees as well as people can experience on the platform.
Interesting. And you just recently onboarded a professor from the University of Sydney. So tell me about that individual and what do they bring to the company?
Yeah, so he used to be a supervisor of mine. So when I was at the University of Sydney, I spent a couple of years studying smart contracts, and in particular smart contract security. And so what we did there was really building software to analyze how smart contracts execute, and also in particular like finding like bugs in smart contracts. And so he was a supervisor of mine from the University of Sydney. He is a full professor there, specializing in programming languages. So figuring out like how smart contracts are executed, how programs run, and security and performance around running a program. So he joined us recently, beginning of May, to be our full-time Chief Research Officer. And so what he brings to Fantom is like a wealth of very technical experience. He's spent probably 20 years working in the field of programming languages. He's spent the past 5 years also studying how smart contracts work at a very technical level. So he will allow us to execute smart contracts, I believe, a lot faster than we currently do.
Yeah,
so he's going to be great for performance and security.
Okay, fascinating stuff. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
We can do better. Existing security systems are often obsolete and ineffective. Today's challenges require a new approach, a personal approach. RAD Light My Way places personal safety in the hands of everyone.
This area is under live monitoring, activated by RAD Light My Way.
The only way we make a safer world is when we all have a hand in it.
Activated by RAD Light My Way.
Just one of the innovations from AITX. Visit AITX.ai.
Cash is a peer-to-peer electronic payment system. And with me to explain exactly how it works is Impact Ambassador Mike Momola. And Mike, I know you're not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice, but talk to me about Epic Cash. What's it all about?
It's about changing the world through digital currency. And what's happened is, if we look at the advent of cryptocurrency going back to 2008, when Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, that was revolutionary in many ways. And there were certain technologies that existed and certain technologies that didn't exist. But one of the things that was happening in the world was that there was a real problem with trust. People had trust issues with their money, what institutions were doing or not doing with their money. And so this was an attempt to address all of those problems through cryptocurrency. So fast forward about a decade, the founder and devs, the engineers behind Epic Cash, had the ability to stand on the shoulders of those giants like Bitcoin and others, and to see what was done right, what was done wrong, and what technologies didn't exist at the time it was created. And so they took all of that and put together what is now Epic Cash, which is the future of money.
Well, funny. So how will we use Epic Cash? Like, explain how the future of money works.
Absolutely. So it's like you said, it's a peer-to-peer, interactive and digital cash. So we can transact with the click of a button. So when you look, the important thing about it being peer-to-peer is that it's also permissionless. And when you get back to that trust issue, that's what was really important. Because if I want to send you money, whether you're sitting next to me or you're sitting on the other side of the globe, I want to be able to click a button and send that to you without having to worry about centralized institutions or organizations being able to affect or impact that. That's what Epic is doing. So it gives individuals the ability to transact and control their money the way money was originally intended to. And one of the things that's fundamental to that is privacy. So Epic's not necessarily a privacy coin, but because of this incredible technology that the founder and the engineers created, it has some of the most superior privacy features on the planet. Many would say the most superior. And that's important. We recognize that today. Society and societies are recognizing the importance of privacy, right? For example, if I ask you, Jane, how much money do you have in your bank account? Or I ask anyone in the studio, how much do you have in your account? We wouldn't tell each other because we recognize inherently that it's private. Well, the same applies if someone wants to, for example, donate to any kind of an organization. They want to be able to do that without fear that there's going to be retaliation, that your bank account's going to be closed.
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't happen.
That was kind of terrifying there for a while.
It's absolutely
actually.
terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is, like, I felt like people didn't care about privacy for like a decade, and there's a backlash now to what that actually means. You really, literally don't have any privacy anymore. So, this
well, you do through certain technologies.
Okay, well, so let's back up for a minute. You mentioned the developers kind of took what Bitcoin and improved upon it. So what are some of the technologies that they implemented that improved on it?
So what they did, like I said, taking the opportunity to learn from these great technologies that existed at the time, there were certain privacy features, for example, Mimblewimble and others that didn't exist in 2008 or in 2014 that existed in 2019. So by implementing Mimblewimble and CoinJoin and Cut-Through and these other opportunities through technology, it changes everything. And it not only gives Epic this really incredible privacy feature, it also substantially reduces the blockchain, and that's what makes it really exciting. So in addition to privacy, we look at scalability. Okay. What's the scalability? So the entire blockchain of Epic is 2.6 gigs. Compare that with Bitcoin that's 380 or 400 gigs. We have people all over the world in over 120 countries, thousands of computers that are mining it on their laptops and gaming computers. The entire blockchain of Epic can fit on a smartphone, and very soon people will be mining it from their phones. So when you think about the potential for scalability, there are 1.8 billion unbanked people in the world. But a lot of them have phones. Right. A lot of them have computers. What happens to the potential of this project when those people who would otherwise never be part and historically haven't been part of the global economy are able to enter through this? That's what we're excited about.
And would that also have some, energy implications as well?
Yeah, so the energy, this Epic is incredibly eco-friendly because it's already using what people have. People have cell phones. They have spare space on their phones. It'll use that. They have laptops. They have gaming computers. So they're using it. Unlike a lot of these other cryptocurrencies where you're required to buy expensive pieces of hardware. There are hundreds of millions of tons of e-waste that go into dumps year after year because these pieces of mining equipment cannot be recycled and they get destroyed. So when we talk about energy, the energy that's being used is already on the systems and there's no waste.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Healixa is a tech company that is focused on building and buying innovative and disruptive technologies in health technology, clean water, green tech as well. And with me is CEO Ian Parker. Welcome, Ian. Good to see you again.
Great
Not
to
on
see
Zoom,
you.
which is
great
nice.
to see
so
you.
yeah,
It's great to be back here.
So give me an update on Healixa, what it's doing.
So right now, the primary focus is completing the prototype, the mass production prototype for the Global Aqueduct unit. We have secured our manufacturer, and that's probably the biggest news that we've had recently. It's a great manufacturer down in South Carolina. They've actually dedicated 150,000 square feet to manufacturing the initial units that we're going to require. So that process is ongoing right now. We're really excited about that. It's happening fast, and it's accelerating at the end here.
So explain that, the Global Aqueduct. What is that? What will it do?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the Global Aqueduct, picture almost like a small refrigerator you'd see in an office somewhere. That little unit there, that little square unit, that's takes up about 4 square feet. That produces about 200 liters of water directly out of the atmosphere with just a small solar panel to power it.
Okay.
So it's a game changer when it comes to the world water crisis. As you know, we got water problems pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Not just in Africa and Caribbean and South America.
Western U.S. is every day. It feels
Mexico,
like,
Arizona, California. So it's an important contribution to where we need to go, in terms of sustainability, and we're excited to provide it.
So it uses solar energy, takes water out of the air, and makes clean water.
Mm-hmm. What it's actually doing is freezing the water vapor directly out of the air. And so basically think of what's happening on the top of the mountains, top of Mount Everest, for example. It's so cold up there, it's just freezing the water vapor directly out of the air. And that's what the unit is doing.
Okay, interesting. And there was just a big order out of South America for these, right?
Not an order. We started securing indications. Okay. Just so we could get a sense of how much capacity we would need in terms of going to market. The initial interest was, I think, exceeded our initial anticipation. So that was for $75 million in indications. They're not orders yet. but they will, hopefully we can turn them into those soon. I guess the exciting part of that is that, that represents about 5,000 units in a forecast. And of those 5,000 units, when they're fully deployed, they would be producing close to 360 million liters of water a year.
A year,
for those communities.
Yeah. How big of a market could this potentially be for these particular aqueducts?
It's an enormous market. I would break it into 3 different categories. You'd have the United Nations and NGO market, or non-governmental organization market. That's more of a charity and humanitarian. That's probably about $114 billion a year for the foreseeable future to address
so just for that one.
Just for that. Military, based on our conversations with experts on the DoD side, we're looking at probably about $15 billion in terms of a market. And I say those are 2 primary markets right now. And then the municipal water side is just, it's not even, it's just such a big number.
Well, I was going to say, surely government, like cities would be interested in this too. No, there are some competitors. What separates Healixa's technology versus what's already out there or being worked on?
Sure. So in terms of the global atmospheric water generation market, it's never really taken off, and some of the problems that that have been, or the challenges for that market have been that the units cost too much money, they require too much power, they take a lot of maintenance. So we've eliminated all of those. The unit is inexpensive. We don't have to operate on a grid, so your cost of operating the units is very low, and maintenance on these units is going to be, is expected to be pretty low.
Okay.
So that's what really separates us, and nobody has the technology that we have. Nobody's done it the way we've done it in terms of freezing the water vapor out of the air, which is why we've patented.
I was just going to ask about that. This seems like a patent. So explain that, the patents that you have and are working on.
So we filed for patent protection. We've cleared the international search on the initial patents. It is a novel device, so we're seeking to get those patents issued, but we have filed under the Patent Cooperation Treaty in 132 countries, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's almost every country in the world, I think. So
it's pretty close.
That's pretty close. All right, any plans to uplist, or what are you looking at in terms of the company?
This looks nice here.
It would look good to have the ticker symbol here, right? Yeah.
So yes, we are preparing ourselves for a national listing. We're doing all the things that we need to do to prepare ourselves for that in terms of corporate governance, corporate controls. We just finished 2 years of audits. We have another year of audits that's getting done now. So we're doing all the things that are necessary, and we are working with people here in the city to ensure that we get to that goal.
And get there. Well, and you mentioned the United Nations, and I'd imagine this is a company that fits with the ESG goals that kind of so many people are pushing for these days.
I would agree with you, and I think not only the ESG goals, but also the sustainability goals that the UN has put forth. They have 17 sustainability goals that they're trying to hit by 2030. Not to say that they're on target for that right now, but hopefully we can make an impact on that. And right now our technology would impact 12 of those 17 goals.
Okay, fascinating, Ian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Glent has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glent's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glentpay.com or download Glent from your favorite app store.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
SEKUR is an instant messaging and email service that is encrypted and is good for confidential communications. And we do know and read about hacks almost on a daily basis. So with me is the CEO of SEKUR, Langahi, to talk about the company and then also some of the products you have for people. So let's just start with, you've got a new product, right?
Yes.
Chat by invite?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
So anyway, hi everyone, thanks for watching. Basically, we launched our new messenger tool with a chat by invite. What it means is that whether you're in the US, Canada, most of Latin America now, and some countries in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, you can text anyone with a phone number from these countries and invite them to chat with you. Now, why that's important? As you know, if you use a chat application, the recipient needs to have the same application. They also ask for your phone number every time when you download those. First of all, we don't ask for your phone number, so it's way more private and secure. The hackers don't know that you even have an account, that you're using it. And now you can chat with anybody in the world that has a mobile phone, because you can just text them and say, hey, Alain wants to chat with you. And then you click on the link. It's like, okay, and then we open a channel and we chat together in a private and secure manner, as if you had SEKUR. And the thing is that when I initiate the conversation, when I terminate it, even if you click again on the link, it's going to be gone. It's going to probably prompt you to buy the service. Okay. But what's really good is that you don't have to download anything. You don't have to register to anything. So it's great for businesses. You know, you have the financial industry, legal, medical, insurance, mortgage, I mean, you name it. People communicate a lot with their clients, and that's going to facilitate, and we're doing it worldwide. As you can see, we've got Colombia, Mexico, a bunch of Latin American, Central American countries, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Switzerland, obviously, and a couple of countries in Europe. And we're going to keep expanding, because you need to be able to have the SMS gateway to text the people from that country. So we keep adding countries.
So walk me through it. So I need the app, the SEKUR app, which I can download on iOS and Google?
Yeah.
Okay. And then through that, I can text somebody?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
first I would recommend you go to SEKUR.com.
Okay.
You buy the solution. After that, you can download, because you need to create your account.
I see.
And that needs to be done with us. Then you download on iOS or Android, you sign in, and then you basically can use chat by invite. You can use it using your address book, your contact book. It'll upload it for you. Or if somebody is not in your address book, you put their name, their phone number, it'll send them an invite to click, and then the channel is open. It's a private tunneling system, and the entire communication only happens in our Swiss encrypted server environment, as opposed to sending encryption keys back and forth over the internet. And that's critical to know, because when you send keys back and forth, they can be hacked. Whereas when it's in a server and it never leaves that server, you can be in Tokyo, I can be in Australia. We're both communicating in Switzerland. That's the cool part about it.
Interesting. Okay. And there's also an email service.
Yes, so SEKUR is a bundle of the email service and the SEKUR Messenger. Now we launched SEKUR as a bundle. We have SEKUR Mail, which is just the email, and SEKUR Messenger. We also launched business services, where you can have your domain name with us, or you can migrate your existing business. Most people probably, they already have a business and emails, and they don't want to have data mining and big tech. They want to move to us for privacy and security. Nobody will even know they moved, because they can keep their domain. So that's pretty cool. So that's already out, and we have other products that are coming out as well. Our email application, which will let you have the Secure Send privacy feature from your phone without going through webmail, that's going to be ready mid-June, so in about a month from now. And then we have the Secure Voice which is going to be in September, October, encrypted calls to anyone in the world without having to dial their phone number, which is again the same concept of you invite somebody with a link, they open, they can chat with you. And then SEKUR Pro, which is our answer to video conferencing.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask about that because we're doing so much of that. And no doubt about it, there's confidential things being exchanged over video.
Of course.
So this is a secure video.
I mean, we have the oil and gas industry right now that's pretty big, right? These people have confidential data, how much they get out of a well. You got the pharmaceutical industry, biotech industry, and financial has always been known that you have conversations that are confidential. But if you look at some of these big companies, that the one that especially that we all use, they have been fined several times between $80 to $100 million because they sell your data. So our goal is this. Our goal, I mean, we're not going to be able to compete with Microsoft and Zoom and things like that. But we're going to say, listen, if you're a C-level executive, if you're in certain industries, you know, you typically don't have conferences with 500 people. It limits you to 20. And that is the tranche of people that will just pay whatever it costs to get that privacy. The product will cost $50 a month per user. It will include all our services. And $50 a month is really not expensive for a board member, for C-level executives, or other people in the medical industry. And I think even citizens themselves, regular citizens like you and me, individuals, they'll pay for it. So yeah, that's an amazing product. And it'll be the culmination this year of everything we're launching. And then next year we have some other things planned.
Okay. Well, I mean, you and I have talked about how this is a growing industry, and we read about it every day. So it's definitely a solution that people need. So.
And now that people work from home or travel is more restricted, let's say, it's a great tool. And companies are trying to save money too. They can't always send somebody on business class to travel just to say hi. Now they have that habit, well, if it's critical, I'm going to send this executive. If it's not, we're just going to do a conference on video. And that's where the business is going to grow like crazy in the next few years.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alon.
Thank you, Jim.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
Hello, I'm Douglas Anderson, and this is Artists and Authors. We're broadcasting from the prestigious 9 West 57th building on Billionaires Row in New York City, at the wonderful 8.5 restaurant located in the bottom of that building. An appropriate place for our first author, Brad Birkenfeld, author of Lucifer's Banker, Uncensored. Brad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Doug, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Tell us about your background and why you wrote this book.
Well, my background, I grew up in the Boston area. I was the youngest of 3 boys, and I went to school in Boston, to private school, and then I went to military school in Vermont, and then studied in London economics, and then started working in Boston as a banker at State Street Bank. After that, I moved over to Switzerland and got my master's degree in finance, and then started working for Credit Suisse, Barclays Bank, and UBS in Switzerland.
So full disclosure, I met you in 2017, and I was actually kind of shocked. I was a speaker for NASDAQ at a conference in Europe, and sitting in the crowd kind of half asleep, and then all of a sudden you were introduced as the world's biggest whistleblower, and as you began to speak, I realized that, hey, you were the guy who upended secret bank accounts in Switzerland. And that was an amazing, major shift on Wall Street when that happened. Tell us about that.
It was a major shift, and it was that no one else ever had the courage or the information to come forward. Law enforcement always complained they couldn't crack Swiss bank secrecy. Bankers always kept their mouth shut and never disclosed. But the problem was that there was such illegal conduct going on the U.S. desk and all the other desks at UBS in Switzerland that I felt compelled to come forward and expose what I had been seeing and working in for several years at UBS in Geneva. The problem was we had 19,000 clients, $20 billion in assets of just Americans. Now, you have to understand, and the audience has to understand, that the minimum account size was $1 million. So if you had that much to put in a Swiss numbered account, you were probably quite wealthy in America where you resided. So this really gives an image of the total wealth and deception that was going on for decades. And why the DOJ and the FBI could never uncover it, well, that's been a mystery to this day. That's why whistleblowers are needed to come forward and do the right thing and expose waste, fraud, and corruption, as I did in this case.
Yeah, well, congratulations. And I've read the book. You've actually got two books. The first book I read, Lucifer's Banker, it's a page turner. I mean, I burned through that thing. It's an amazing book. So tell us what happened to you at UBS, and how did you come to write the book?
Well, I worked as a director at UBS in Geneva, Switzerland, and I was the head of business development for North America. And while I was doing that business there back in the early 2000s, I began to see that we had clients that were just putting money in Switzerland to either hide it from the tax man or hide it from a business partner or from a spouse. And that really wasn't our business. We were doing the banking, but Switzerland allowed for this type of facility to go on. The problem is that when you start talking about cross-border transactions where the U.S. has certain tax laws that conflict with Swiss non-tax laws, and that's really where the problem is. And that's where I complained, and I complained vehemently to my management as well as to legal and compliance on several occasions in writing and verbally, and they ignored me as a director. So I had no choice but to resign. But I wasn't going to just resign and give up my career. I felt as though compelled actually to come forward and expose this, because if I didn't, then it would have continued. So that's exactly what I did. I came to my own government, the Department of Justice, the IRS, the SEC, and the U.S. Senate. But what I found out, Doug, was that my government was as corrupt, if not more corrupt, than the Swiss government. You figured you would come to your own government who would actually assist you in exposing the largest and longest running tax scandal in the world. And the very fact that they were so hostile towards me and didn't want to give me a subpoena, which is very simple. Later, the U.S. Senate was happy to give me a subpoena, and it took them about a week to do so. So I guess the Department of Justice is more interested in, maybe eating donuts than.
Well, I can't understand the reasoning behind not issuing a simple subpoena unless they're trying to hide something, maybe political donors or something like that. I don't know. But so tell me more about, you submitted 20,000 names?
Well, I first went to the DOJ and then to the IRS, SEC, and U.S. Senate, but it was 19,000 American clients with $20 billion in assets.
Okay.
And what had happened there was I didn't have every single name, but I had a lot of them. And some of the names that I gave, and I gave them before the voluntary disclosure programs were implemented. And the IRS commissioner himself said under oath, if we have an ongoing investigation or we have your name, you are not, repeat, not allowed to come into the program. Well, I gave up Leonard Lauder, a billionaire here from New York, Jack Manning, a billionaire from Boston, Kevin Costner, Hollywood actor, and the list went on. But nothing's happened to these people. Why? They didn't want to give me credit for those, so they buried those names. So the American people should actually be outraged because everyone else pays their taxes, but these millionaires and billionaires get to walk scot-free.
And that comes into one of the reasons the book is called Uncensored. Your first book came out. Why did you write another book?
That's a great question. When I wrote my first book, and actually no publisher would publish my book, it came out right before the election because it intimately involved President Obama, Attorney General Eric Holder, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. It was a cabal. These people were part of the cover-up and the corruption that runs deep within our government. Why? Because Barack Obama was accepting money from the chairman of UBS, Robert Wolf, in this town, put him on two of his committees at the White House. At the very same time, he was not attending as a senator, a sitting senator, the committee I testified in front of for 10 hours, never showed up for a hearing. But yet he was accepting millions of dollars on the investigation he should have been conducting. Eric Holder at his law firm in Washington, Covington and Burling. His biggest client was representing UBS. Hillary Clinton and her husband received millions of dollars in speaking fees from UBS. So why is it that Hillary Clinton was put in charge of an international criminal investigation of this magnitude?
No, she was Secretary of State at the time, not head of the Treasury or head of the Department of Justice.
No. That's exactly right.
So that's a very good question.
And people should be asking this question. Whether it was a long time ago or not, it shows the ingrained corruption, and it shows how the government has all worked together. Now, that's called a conspiracy, quite frankly.
We can do better. Existing security systems are often obsolete and ineffective. Today's challenges require a new approach, a personal approach. RAD Light My Way places personal safety in the hands of everyone.
This area is under live monitoring, activated by RAD Light My Way.
The only way we make a safer world is when we all have a hand in it.
Activated by RAD Light My Way.
Just one of the innovations from AITX. Visit AITX.ai.
Glint has developed proprietary technology that enables everyone to buy gold. Gold that's stored in Brink's vaults, insured by Lloyd's of London. With Glint's app and debit card, peace of mind is just a few taps away. It's easy to protect your hard-earned savings, and there are no minimums, hidden fees, or financial advisors required. To learn how to safeguard your future, go to glintpay.com or download Glint from your favorite app store.
Growing clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
Smiles 23 is a company focused on making sure executives have the best physical presentation that they can. And with me is Dr. Lee Goss, the CEO of Smiles 23 and also CEO Smiles, which is a project of Smiles 23. So explain what that's all about.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a dentist by trade, but Smile 23 is an exciting project where we're attempting to roll up very high-end dental practices. And in those practices, we're defined by the highest quality of care, leading technology, and customer experience. And we are excited about telling our story through CEO Smiles. And in CEO Smiles, we want to take a deep dive into the smile of a CEO and pick apart what characteristics of that smile actually make it different.
So why is that important?
Why is a smile important?
I mean, we know it's good, but for a CEO, how does that make a difference?
Okay, so why is a smile particularly important for a CEO? CEOs have to be able to demonstrate confidence. And I think out of all facial features, eyes, skin, hair, there's nothing that projects confidence like a smile. Even, you kind of want your CEO, in my opinion, to have a little gray hair, maybe a wrinkle or two, but you definitely want them to be able to project confidence during the pitch and to disarm during negotiations. And I think a smile is the quickest way to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it does show confidence, warmth. People I think can relate to you. They're not intimidated by you if you're, smiling a little bit. So it might be a good thing for negotiations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think people are, and for years have been focused on the Hollywood smile and how can they look like their star. But I think now more than ever, people really want to emulate this CEO that they're a fan of. And I've been privileged over the years to help construct and design some of the smiles for CEOs, CMOs, COOs, founders. And I've been privileged to see kind of how their smile has been part of their journey.
So I'm thinking straight teeth, white teeth. Anything else? Like, is there anything I'm missing?
Missing is the key word.
Okay, so
all of them there.
Yeah.
So 80% of adults are missing at least one tooth.
Interesting.
And now there are so many technologies that are coming to the forefront, especially robotic dentistry, which is allowing people to replace missing teeth. So absolutely right. I think people have gotten it right with straight and white through clear aligners and through teeth whitening, but there's so much tech coming in robotics that's really interesting.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. So what can robotics do? How are they changing dentistry?
Well, we have to think about who places a screw better, a robot or a person. I'm personally really excited about where robotics are going to influence dentistry. Robotics are already heavily in medicine and in surgery, and robots can, with the assistance of a doctor, place dental implants. I think a lot of other procedures are going to be coming down the line, and this is amazing because it's going to greatly influence access to care and quality of care.
Yeah, and maybe bring the price down a little bit as well, since there's
100%
to it. So.
Price comes down, quality goes up, and it's just amazing.
So what should someone do if they're considering, what should be the first step that they take if they're an executive and considering improving their smile?
Well, virtual consultations became a real thing over the past 2 years. So now a virtual consultation is part of almost every dentist's workflow. So that's a great place to start. You can talk about your smile, and we all know from Zoom calls that you can actually see someone's teeth pretty well on a Zoom call. There's actually a dental term that came about called Zoom call anxiety, which is actually related to the way a person's appearance, because the Zooms really show facial features really well.
Oh yeah, that lighting, like that can be a killer sometimes on those Zoom calls. And finally, like what's a price range for something like this?
Well, dental implants at present are roughly $5,000 a tooth. A full arch rehab can range from $20,000 to say $100,000 or even $120,000. But I think with the technology that's really, really close, I think the prices of dentistry are really going to come down, and the quality in the mid-market is really going to come up.
It'd be very interesting. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
SEKUR, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. SEKUR is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using proprietary military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. SEKUR doesn't collect or sell your data and doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. You can message and email non-secure users privately without the need for others to download SEKUR. Visit SEKUR.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Clones in-house can severely drain both quality and costs for cannabis and hemp businesses. PharmaGreen Biotech is the key to growing high-quality plantlets. PharmaGreen services includes premium tissue-cultured starter plantlets and live preservation of any plant species. Grow into the future of optimized plant growth with PharmaGreen. See our update at update.pharmagreen.ca.
Want to get linked to a really good investment? Everyone knows you have to be at the right place at the right time. So here's the deal. Link2 is that place. And when you sign up, you'll join an awesome community of investors with access to the world's leading private companies way before they go mainstream. Are you ready to get linked to? Our unicorns are waiting. Link2. Private investing made simple.
Okay, hey everyone, welcome to your Secure Privacy and Security segment. I'm Anna Berry with Elaine Guillai, the CEO of Secure Private Data. Okay, Elaine, one single vulnerability is all an attacker needs. It's summertime, we are traveling, I'm traveling a lot. I want to know some tips to keep our data private and secure. How can we handle airports? How do we handle all these apps that we have to download to get into hotels and concerts? What should we do? Tell us.
Yeah, hi, Anna. And, you brought up a lot of good keywords and subjects. You got your airport, you have your hotel Wi-Fi. We're always in communication, whether we're working while we travel or we're on vacation. We always use email. We surf the net tremendously on our mobile devices mostly. And everybody's traveling now. I mean, airlines don't even have enough employees. They have to cancel thousands of flights. So it's going to be a chaotic summer, and we'll have, I'm sure, more than one segment about that. So I go back to my typical first 3 to 5 tips. So when it comes to, you need to have a secure connection. You need to have an encrypted email when you send personal information, which also includes travel dates, etc. And when you chat, if you use one of those free big tech platforms, make sure it's nothing too personal. So don't send over the copy of your boarding pass and tickets. I mean, people do that like nonstop. Hotel reservations, right? So that's important because the hackers are salivating this summer because there's going to be a ton of data from travelers. So you have health records. To go back to the US, you still need to have some kind of test, negative test. That means that these tests are being sent via email, they're scanned, and they're sent over a WhatsApp or, these big tech email, which basically data mine the heck out of you. So you're also handing them your medical information. So first thing first, if you use a mobile device, by now we have 5G. We don't need to save on gigabytes for Wi-Fi, etc. There's enough of storage. I think the most plans give you 10 gig or unlimited gig. So I would recommend that you do not use Wi-Fi. The reason is because even if there's a so-called secure Wi-Fi, like in a hotel or something, it's not the kind of security that, we would think of. So any hacker can just break through that. There were so many tests done in hotels and hackers, wide hack as we call it. So use your regular phone internet connection. Just surf the net. If you're watching Netflix in the plane or something, and obviously, I guess in an airplane, you have to use the airplane Wi-Fi. I guess that leaves you vulnerable to that. But if you want to, you can. Most airplanes now, they have programs on their seats. They have TV. They got everything. They got Dish Network, whatever. You got JetBlue that has like an amazing entertainment system, supposedly, from what I've seen. So airplanes have that. But really, if you're in an airport, if you're in a coffee shop, if you're in a hotel, do not use your Wi-Fi because you have a great connection with your mobile.
So you're saying, Elaine, that when we're in a hotel, we should tap into the hotspot and not the hotel Wi-Fi?
Yes, that's exactly it. So what it means is basically you go to your device, and I think it has mobile hotspot. You click on the thing. I have one here, and I can show people. I use a Samsung and then I clicked on mobile hotspots here. I'm sure my phone has a similar thing. And that's it. And then what happens when that happens, essentially, you are using your mobile data from your phone plan. And then I could hear a lot of people panicking, but phone plans today have like a zillion gigabytes, and most of them are at 5G in the US, which is a big privilege. So you're getting probably a better connection than the Wi-Fi of the hotel or the Wi-Fi of your coffee shop, because what's happening in these Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, they have a particular bandwidth, and if it's like everybody takes a shower at 7 a.m. in a hotel, it's going to be colder water. If you wait an hour or two later, it'll get back to warm, in those kind of business hotels or whatever. So it's the same thing with Wi-Fi. And what happens when the Wi-Fi is stretched and weak, the signal is weak, the security gets even weaker. Wow. So use your phone, use your hotspot, and don't accept anybody else's hotspot that you don't know, obviously. Also, if you're looking at your phone, actually one of my largest shareholders told me about this ad that he saw on TV. He's in the US, and it was somebody looking at their phone and then another person behind looking at what they do. It was kind of an ad about watch out when you're in a public place. That's also, I've been saying that since 2012 on TV, whenever I am on TV. And I've been saying, listen, watch what you do. You're in your coffee shop and you have your computer and you have all your stuff open. It's super nice. It's fun. You got your cappuccino, but you have a million people behind you that are watching what you do. So you need to be a little bit more careful and use the strength of your 5G and watch out and cover your screens, stuff like that, stuff that we don't think of doing.
Now, tell me about plugging in, because I was plugging in the airport the other day with my USB, and a random gentleman was like, don't do that. They'll steal your data. Is that true?
Yes. So you were on a seat. I guess I've seen those on some airports. So if the seat has a USB, you were plugging in electrical, right? And it was charging through the USB. Mm-hmm. I mean, even me, I'm a bit paranoid, but I think that maybe a little bit far-fetched, but it could happen because the seat acts as an electrical outlet. And it's a lot easier to do USB than these 110 or 220 volt. However, it's good advice. But if you don't have a choice and you need to charge your phone, charge it from the USB from the seat. It's essentially an electrical plug. That's it, with a transformer, so you don't get 110 volt in your thing from your USB. So no, I don't think the seat is stealing your data. I would be much more worried about your Wi-Fi and somebody snooping around. If somebody gives you a USB, now that you mentioned USB, don't plug in a USB key on other devices. Some people say, hey, can you print this for me? It's on a USB. Don't do that, because that could have malware in it. I mean, that's a whole other situation. It just reminded me of a story of somebody, one of the biggest, cyber specialists in the globe from Norway. He was telling this story that he was testing, and this company had the best systems in the world, the best awareness. But at the end, he's like, I have my plane ticket here. Can you just print it for me? He went to the assistant and they put that USB for a simple thing to print his ticket. And that was like a test, right? Obviously. So don't put USBs everywhere. But if you're charging your phone from a seat, it's okay.
Reducing our data mining footprint and increasing our awareness so our data can be safe, private, and secure. As always, I learned so much from our weekly show, and thank you so much for joining us and giving us these tips. I hope our audience is taking this and using it in their everyday lives.
Thanks, Anna, and it's always a pleasure talking with you about these tips, educating our audience. And I want to thank our audience for watching us on a weekly basis. Tell everybody, tell your friends, and also as a reward, if you want to buy Secure, you can get a 15% discount by using promo code SEKUR15, that's SEKUR15, when you go and purchase any of our solutions.
Perfect. Thank you, Elaine. We'll see you again next week.
Thanks, Anna.
The new socialists in Washington want your wealth, and they're raising taxes to do it. But now you can stop them by creating a guaranteed stream of tax-free income that they can't touch. In the new book, Tax-Free Income for Life, best-selling author David McKnight shows you how you can lock in guaranteed tax-free income that will last as long as you do. Whether you have more than $1 million saved or less than $100,000 set aside for your golden years, you can enjoy tax-free income for life. Get your free copy today. Supplies are limited, so act now.
I haven't worn this in years, so this is what it looks like. My name is Phil Burns. I just turned 83. I didn't expect to make it past 60 because I put 40 years in New York City Fire Department. I started out as a fireman when I was 20, and I didn't wear a mask. We didn't have masks back then. When you reach my age now, you have to deal with things. I talk about balance in nature. It's fruit and vegetables. I've taken it for 10 years, and I'm still going strong. And I meet a lot of young women. They don't know I'm 83, you know.
Bush as president, but I continue to be a thorn in their side, in that decision desk, in that room, all the way through the election where Trump won. I was vindicated, and Stirewalt was again a loser. If any of this were false, I would expect Chris or Fox to push back on my reporting and this right now, but they won't because they can't. It's all true. So fast forward 4 years, the 2020 election becomes a tight race, and Stirewalt and the decision desk calls the all-important race of Arizona for Biden. They were first, before even the AP or any of the left-leaning CNN or MSNBC, not even the broadcast networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, were before Fox. Think about that for a minute. And Stirewalt, just there, today, admitted he was the reason Fox called Arizona for Biden first. By hours and days from the other news organizations, like a cat who just ate the mouse. This isn't a hearing. This is a circus sideshow, just waiting for the bearded man or the really small person who married the really huge one to show up. This is a snake oil sale, and that's an insult to snake oil salesmen, by the way. Now let's bring in Peter Navarro, former Trump White House advisor and author of that book right there, Taking Back Trump's America. Peter, good to have you on, my friend. I assume you watched some of all the testimony, some of the testimony. You know, what's your takeaway? Listen, you want to weigh in on it, but I did hear on Friday Liz Cheney saying that they were censoring you at some point. Peter, don't talk. So what are your thoughts and what's your message to Liz Cheney?
Well, my message to Liz Cheney is she is a rhino Republican who should be a representative in the District of Columbia, not Wyoming, because she didn't grow up there. She's not a Wyomingian, and she's going to get her butt kicked and not be in Congress after this November election. But look, Erica, I'm in the business of predictions, right? And one of the things I said early on, and you might even said it before me, is that the mission of this kangaroo committee on Capitol Hill is to build a bogus kind of phony Russiagate criminal case against President Trump as a way of keeping him out of the Oval Office come January of 2025. And I think we saw that in spades here. I mean, the problem there's a lot of problems with that. Well, one of them is that Congress is not supposed to weaponize its investigatory powers for judicial ends. I mean, you can't, by the separation of powers in our Constitution, act as judge, jury, and executioner as the judicial function is. So what you're seeing with this very scripted event, the kangaroo court, is essentially the trial of Donald Trump yet again. And I would say, Eric, that all 7 Democrats on that select committee, as it's called, have a 5-year history of trying to basically a coup d'etat, remove Trump from office for bogus reasons, whether it was the discredited Russia hoax to begin with, 2 phony impeachments, and 3 House resolutions that try to remove Trump for various reasons, for bogus reasons. So, look, the backdrop for these hearings, stock market crash today on top of what's been a very long downward slide, inflation off the charts, an economy in tatters. We've got really, really serious problems here with this economy because of the way the Biden regime has been conducting its foreign policy, its economic policy, and its border policy. And the American people, if they were to list these hearings as a priority for our legislation, it would be somewhere south of the Rio Grande right now, because this ain't cutting it.
Peter, I watched Steyerwalt testify, and you know, I worked with the guy a long time, and he was such an anti-Trumper when he was at the decision desk. And I used to have these arguments with him in the decision desk. He would say Trump has no path to the nomination. Trump has no path to the presidency. And I just show him how the path worked, how the math worked. Amazing that he couldn't do the math himself, or he didn't want to do it accurately. Here's my question. What was he there for? What was the point of having Chris Steyerwalt testify to the January 6th? What was his attachment to January 6th?
I think what they're trying to do is build again this bogus case that somehow this election was fair and was not tainted in any way by election irregularities. The problem with Steyerwalt is that was an indefensible projection, because the margin of alleged victory by Biden was 11,000 votes. I mean, that's a razor of a razor thin of an edge. So yeah, that was like, you're looking at the chessboard. And the problem with Steyerwalt's projection, and why we in the Trump campaign were so angry, was it suppressed votes, just less like Steyerwalt intended to do. He should be held to account for trying to influence that election in an unfair way with that projection. So look, the bottom line is we're watching a very scripted performance by a kangaroo court, which is trying to build criminal charge against Trump. That'll never stick, but just the taint and the smear, they hope, will drag him down. And I buried the lead, Eric, because I want to congratulate you on going to prime time at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So good for you, Eric. I just want to make sure I got that in.
I just want to make sure we can still have Peter Navarro on once we make the move to prime time on a regular basis. You're a great guest. We're a great friend of the show. Peter, before we let you go, just tell us how you doing? How are you doing? How do things stand with all the nonsense that went on with you late last week?
Well, there's been a tremendous outpouring of support. The book, Taking Back Trump's America, is important for 2 reasons. One, it's going to be my legal defense fund. I'm looking at what experts are telling me could be up to $1 million or more in legal fees to fight this bogus charge. But look, people, I think they bridged too far here for the Department of Justice and the FBI. I mean, what they did was outrageous, Eric. I mean, I literally live across the street from the FBI. It's common when you have this white-collar offense that's not even fraud, it's just a technical offense, to arrange what's called a voluntary surrender. And I had reached out to the FBI agent 2 days before they took me down at the airport, said, hey, whatever you need, I'm there. They didn't do that. And that just cemented the idea that this was a show trial. I asked for an attorney when they arrested me. I didn't get that. They put me in a jail cell and leg irons for a couple hours while I waited. And meanwhile, they leaked it to the press that I had been arrested. I mean, all of that tells you that this is more about politics than the law. And it's just, I mean, people should be indignant about this, particularly in Trump land, because it's just, Erica, and how long does this go on? I go back to the Russiagate thing. I mean, that was like been totally discredited. It's like you had the FBI implicated, the Justice Department implicated.
Yeah, it's scary. You know what? The common denominator. the common denominator on these things seems to be the FBI, and that's a very scary concept. You would
It's
hope
terrible.
the FBI wouldn't be
hurts, 'cause
puppets
we all
to the
love the FBI, but not
politicians.
now. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Peter, we got to leave it there. Always good luck,
Brother,
my friend, and we'll see you again soon.
congratulations
Next time we'll see you on prime time.
Yes, sir.
All right, coming up, the Dems in disarray. One by one, they're turning their backs on sliding Biden. They don't think he can win in 24. That's next on The Balance. And big news now, starting tomorrow, moving to 8 p.m. Eastern, The Balance will still bring you all the best opinions, hot takes, and knowledge with a healthy dose of snark tomorrow. The Balance moves to 8 p.m. Eastern. You need to join us.
Hi, I'm Congressman Steve Scalise. Join me in watching Eric Bolling on The Balance.